all this other bullshit. So, like, I don't want to keep getting asked to join in on some other service. Like, just give me the stuff for free.
The one thing is, like,
one-time
they were gonna charge for that stuff anyway, and if you thought you were gonna buy all of these DLC packs, as long as the upfront charge is saving you money, it's really hard to leverage too much against those services. Like Call of Duty Elite, whatever it adds to the Call of Duty experience, you're saving money if you were gonna buy all that DLC.
But
if you're gonna buy all these Battlefield packs that are gonna come out this year and each be $15, $20.
Yeah, second button, Michael Pachter, get loose.
Well, the
like
problem might have just been actually just like bringing it up at E3.
Sure.
It might be something you just like give to the fans of the franchise.
Right.
At the time. Hey guys.
Well, like, yeah, this service isn't something that people are gonna be like, fuck yeah.
Right. Right. Because there was a pretty deathly silence when that came up at the press conference.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
All right, that's way too much time on Battlefield.
So let's talk
Premium.
about boobs.
Let's talk about boobs.
So I guess that means we'll talk about Ubisoft then.
You mean?
Ubisoft. There we go.
Somebody had to
How
say.
did that not happen all day?
It did.
Did it?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Okay,
yes.
yeah, definitely.
It was all
That's
over
not
Twitter.
anything.
Sorry.
So Ubi has a colorful track record with its press conferences at E3.
What a polite way of putting it.
Well, I'm going to say I feel like they run, like every year, real hot and real cold, like minute to minute in one of their press conferences. You can have some, like, last year you had that first Far Cry 3 demo, which was really, really impressive. But it was, couched in between all of the Mr. Caffeine nonsense.
Yeah.
Do you think that Mr. Caffeine, like today, thinks that he bombed at that show, or does he still think he was awesome? Do you think?
I think
that
guy
man
has-
is. Go ahead.
I think he has built up such a careful construct of his own personal awesomeness that there's no penetrating that shield.
I don't know. Is it capable of thinking or feeling?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, who was the goofball that was like the social media dweeb that was in the back camera on Ubisoft?
Oh, this year?
Yeah, that was like Mr.
He's
Caffeine's
he's
little
a
brother.
YouTube guy, I
He's-
guess.
He's bad.
Well, so he has 1.8 million fans on YouTube.
Wow.
And he does like these elaborate, I guess, comedy things. Like he did this very literal Assassin's Creed trailer, and I think that's why Ubisoft got him, was because he's done all this stuff with their brand stuff before, but they clearly had no idea how to use him whatsoever. Like they got Aisha Tyler, and they're like, okay, we're gonna have this other guy, and they're gonna have this banter, and it's gonna be great. Neither of them clearly had rehearsed with each other or done anything together, and you could tell that Aisha Tyler was like about to cut his throat at a certain point. It was rough.
But she was digging on Florida.
Yeah.
I thought like she was, compared to Mr. Caffeine,
Oh, she was
anything's
great. No,
great.
she was
but
fine.
On her own, when
She was
she was just like
professional.
left to her own
She was
devices,
fine. She was
she
professional.
sounded
Yeah.
like she was going on script, off script. Like whether she was or not, she had like a commanding presence. She
Yeah, she was
knew
having
the
fun.
material. She liked games. Like
So were they showing naked? Were they showing naked boobs?
They did show naked boob, like right at the beginning
there
too.
was paint. I don't know if that changes. Like
There was
the
a lot of
rating.
nipples.
Also, they were made out of polygons. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Right. They weren't actual.
They're
naked
not
boobs.
actually belonging to any
They
real
moved.
human
They were
female.
digital.
What was
Perfectly.
what was the context? Because I haven't never heard the context.
There was some dry humping going on.
it was the Far Cry 3 gameplay demo. Started off with a writhing,
it was-
naked
Very
tribal
sort
lady.
of erotic ritual ceremony taking place from the first person.
Oh, it was
So-
tribal. So it was like
Yeah.
National Geographic boobies.
Kinda.
There was a
Except in
sensual.
Except in National Geographic, I don't think like the photographer is taking his hands and like putting it up all
These
over
had
the
Yeah.
body of
These
the
boobies
native.
had been in a bra for the prior 15 years.
But it was they justified the fact that she was naked because it was
they
tribal.
had support.
It was a scene of
They weren't tribal.
sensuality.
It was.
Yes, clearly. So that happened.
A lot of thought
yeah.
went into them.
But there was also some other crazy shit that then went on to happen in the rest
Like
of
the
that
flaming
demo.
tiger.
Yeah, the tiger that was on fire. The knife.
The worst of all tigers.
The fucking fever dream that happened at the end of that demo.
The knife that was on fire,
Yeah.
or the guy bled fire,
or
like
the
that-
guy knifing the wall and the wall exploding. Like, what the fuck was happening?
Yeah, I think that was just I don't think that's how that one specific enemy
Yeah.
encounter was supposed to go off there.
No.
But obviously the nudity left an impression more than the rest of that
It got
demo.
people talking. Like it was clearly very deliberately put in there as like it's not like they're like, oh, people are gonna find. Oh, people were surprised that people find that weird. Like,
Yeah,
it was,
they're
it
like, "Oh,
was
this is
there
fine."
as a set piece.
I have mixed feelings about that because on the one hand, I definitely am of the general opinion that in this country we're too puritanical, and that we can look at all these explosions all day long and all this gunfire, and like the end of the Last of Us demo, the guy getting shot right in the face.
Yep.
And we're all
And I was
laughing.
like, "Woo!"
We're all laughing and cheering.
Huge
And
round
then
of applause.
There's a set of female breasts, and we're all going, "Oh my God!" Like, so there's something about that to me that seems wrong. But on the other hand, there's something also like incredibly obligatory and kind of stupid about polygonal breasts.
Yeah. Well, there's a
don't know how to
tackiness to it.
justify it.
The problem is that there's a tackiness to it. And granted, there's a tackiness to a lot of video game violence, too, so we should be equally outraged over both. But there is a weird tackiness to just, like, girl writhing around doing this sort of tribal dry hump
You know, so
ceremony
Alicia-
that's just not...
Aisha Tyler
It's
didn't
not
make,
sexy like it should be, Jack. It's just
Aisha,
not... No.
Aisha didn't make any girl gay jokes about that though. Only about the dancers. I don't think she knew the boobage was coming.
Well,
in.
when
I
did-
thought
when
she
did
was
it-
gonna turn that into some joke. I thought she was gonna
So
come
did
in
I.
like cut
But-
the tension, like.
Yeah.
and she did.
Are we
Hang
supposed
on.
to feel
when did-
weird about this?
When did Girlwood come into play?
That was
the very
right.
beginning.
That was
Was
pretty
it?
early.
That was
later on.
No, that was
No,
after.
that was
There were
Splinter Cell.
multiple
She was talking about
instances.
Splinter Cell because
Yeah.
she was all like, "I've got Girlwood for that stuff."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Aisha Tyler, ladies and gentlemen.
Splinter Cell,
Eh.
they've lost me again. They had me with the last one with Conviction.
I
but
really enjoy. Conviction had all sorts of problems, but I really did enjoy Conviction.
I feel like there's we're looking at Ghost Recon Future Soldier just came out a couple weeks ago, and just trying to put a finger on like it had like what is this game, and like kind of start think about like what does Tom Clancy, what does that brand mean to Ubisoft at this point, and also sort of like what does Ghost Recon mean versus Splinter Cell at this point, because so like it seems like there's a lot of mechanical and aesthetic things that have just kind of bled across the board between those games, and then seeing Splinter Cell, I'm like, I feel like I'm watching a slightly reskinned Ghost Recon Future Soldier scenario here. Just there's a
Or if you told me this was just future Ezio, I'd believe you too.
Yeah, it really did feel like he was running around the Animus.
Like,
he
give
was
Ezio a gun.
like
and-
there was like a lot of the ideas of Conviction was strip him of all of his fancy gear, make it raw again, or make it raw at all. Like he had always been very gadget oriented for previous Splinter Cell games. So then to just kind of come back to that, it just felt like Conviction just didn't matter, or like that didn't leave any lasting effects on the series. It's sort of like, well, we're back to kind of business as usual, although fourth echelon. That's one more echelon.
What happened to 1 and 2?
I don't know if there ever were first or second echelons.
They're kind of meaningless in the grand scheme of things.
I'm afraid that my knowledge of the Splinter Cell fiction does not run that deep. I'm only familiar with the third.
For as much as Ubisoft was kind of a shit show just in production,
Yeah.
they had several good games.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm just trying to run down the list
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
chronologically here.
What was after that? What was after Splinter Cell?
I want to say
Rayman? I think it was Rayman.
which we discussed already.
Rayman, Zombie U.
I agree with the innocentiality of the Wii U controls, but I still think Rayman.
But if you have a
Lost
Wii U,
Dog.
that is probably going to be a game that you're going to want to have. in that-
delightful.
because it's fucking Rayman. Like, it's
No kazoo in
Yeah.
that demo.
Where
What
was
the
the
shit?
didgeridoo?
Michelle
I asked
Ansel, do you drop the kazoo? Don't drop the kazoo.
Michel Ancel not making an appearance.
There's,
Are you
know
having
what
a
they
stroke?
No, the kazoo is one of
I
my
know,
favorite
I
parts
know,
of the
I know.
soundtrack. Of
they
Rayman
traded out the
Origins.
kazoo and didgeridoo for some surf rock, so I guess that's okay.
I feel
Yeah.
like there was surf guitar in Origins as well.
Yeah.
Not nearly to such a pronounced degree. though.
Right.
But that was
Watchdog.
delightful. That whole
That was great.
sequence,
Yeah.
just the musical part of that, like it was
Fantastic.
that. You know what that was, Patrick? That was reminding me of the best fleeting moments of a Sonic the Hedgehog game, of the sense of speed,
Yeah, I can see that.
some
Sure.
simplicity of gameplay,
Yeah.
and just like watch these characters do cool shit and be involved enough in that process.
And there was
Yes.
some good cohesion between the music and sound design and what
Right.
was going on on the screen.
Yeah, no, that clicking the way it did, it was that was probably my first real strong reaction during the
Because they
Ubisoft.
did some of the music stuff in Origins, but it's always
It's like a note.
yeah, like a
you'd
note
bounce
a
on
little bit, but
platform, you'd hear a drum.
But this,
snare
like the idea
hit.
that like when you'd go through like that tube and like that'd be like the slide down like the neck of the guitar. Like,
Yeah.
it was just exceptionally well done. I hope there's a lot more of that in the game.
No, that was a nice tight little demo for sure.
AC3, which we talked a little bit about.
Yeah, which Michael, I respect your opinions about a lot of things.
No, I didn't say it was a bad game. I hate annual franchises. They're beating it to death. Why not every 6 months? Why not every quarter?
Because it already takes the entire company to make one of those a year. You see the credit. Like, I think Ubisoft. You want to talk about the lasting effect of Assassin's Creed? Forget the franchise itself. Assassin's Creed taught Ubisoft how to work as an entire company. That's the game that